Hi guys, welcome back. In today's video, as you saw in the title, I'm gonna be going over the differences between doing an American style manicure and a Brazilian style manicure. Now, I say quote unquote American and I say quote unquote Brazilian because it's not really American or Brazilian, right? It's just different styles. One where you paint inside the nail without touching the skin, and the other one where you paint all over the skin and then clean up, right? And I say quote unquote because I know, for example, in America, in the United States, we paint inside the nail, and I know that is the case as well in Italy, where you leave a tiny gap, right? And then the Brazilian, which is like you paint all over the place and then clean up, it's also how we used to do it in Cuba, which is where I'm from. So I'm very familiar with the Brazilian way, and I actually have some insight into the manicure that I wanted to share with you guys. So why I'm doing this video. So I just finished watching Janixa's video, and it was so funny. I'll link her video down below. But I also got a bunch of comments, and it's mainly from people from Brazil complaining about, the gap that I leave around my cuticle. And I know it's from there because of the language in which they leave it, and I also speak Spanish, so Portuguese, I can read it. So I know exactly what they're saying. And I've seen Brazilian manicures. Like I said, I lived through that. For the majority of my life, I was doing the same. So without further ado, I want to show you guys some stuff. And what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to be doing the Brazilian style right here and the American right here. So you guys can see the differences, and I'm going to walk you through some stuff as I do them. So I already prepped my nails with a base coat, which will be about the same for both. Just however you do your prep and apply your base coat, that's fine. And I'm going to get into the way that each different style paints the nail, cleans them up, pros and cons, why they do this, and certain other things, that I know you guys are going to have questions on. So let's get into it. Now I'm gonna zoom in here a little bit so you guys can see more up close the differences, right? And there's a glitter here because I had this manicure on both hands and I removed it, and there's some glitter left over, but it's December, right? We can survive with this glitter over here, this glitter over there. So, okay, when you do manicures in the United States, right? And I chose a very dark polish so you can really see things. Often we clean up with a cleanup brush, which you guys have seen me use this in all my videos, right? People clean up with a cleanup brush after the nail polish is dry. I like to do it when the nail polish is still wet. It's just easier to remove, right? So I'm gonna do it which is how I do all my swatch videos, so there's nothing new for you guys. How we do it here, and I know this is how they do it in Italy and many other places. You get as close as you can, but you don't really touch the skin, right? This would also be similar to how things are done for gel. You don't want to touch your skin because then the gel is going to lift and all of that, right? Now, if you zoom in more, okay, you can see there's probably like a 2 millimeter, distance between the nail polish and where the skin starts. Now, nobody's going to come this close in real life. When you're walking around the city, nobody's gonna zoom in into your nail. I painted, I'm done. No cleanup. Look, I'm gonna zoom out. You're gonna see, right? Who can see anything? You cannot see a damn thing, right? Look at that. That 1 millimeter difference that avoids me so much cleanup is not visible to the naked eye. Now I understand. I'm gonna zoom back in, and I'm sorry for the zooming in and out, but I wanted to show you guys. If you're paying for a manicure and they leave a 4 millimeter gap or something that looks super grown out, I get it, And sometimes in my swatch videos, I do go a little bit farther, and sometimes when I clean up, I create a bigger gap. But that's just swatching to show you guys the color, right? If I were to do a manicure for someone, especially if they're paying me, I would try to go as close as I can, still without touching the skin. This is the American way. This is a one coater. I'm done, right? I would do my top coat. That's it. Out the door. Now I want to show you guys how it's done in Cuba. So, and I'm going to continue to say Cuba because that's where I'm from. I'm not from Brazil, so I don't want to keep saying Brazil, Brazil. I don't know, I never lived there, but in Cuba it's the same thing. So I'm going to use my own country for this one. They don't believe in gaps. These gaps are not desirable. And that shows you guys, difference in culture, right? In America, we realize that that little gap doesn't really do much. But in Cuba, the gap is not a thing. So they come in and they paint all over the nail, touching the skin everywhere. We want zero gap, okay? And I'm sorry if this is making you cringe, I understand. Then, what we do is we come in with a little wooden stick like this, and we clean it up while it's still wet, right? We create a distance. Not a distance, we try to, I don't know why I said a distance. We try to clean up the polish off of the skin. But if you notice, any flooding, whatever, right? You gotta continue to clean it up. There's no gap after you do this. Now, this doesn't hurt at all. May look like it hurts, but it doesn't. Now in Cuba, we didn't have paper towel, right? So all manicurists used to apply nail polish like this. They had a little towel, and you would clean up your wooden stick against the towel like this I'm doing with the paper towel. And then that towel, over time, we get like little, colors of everything, and they will wash them and reuse them, right? So anyways, you can see that by the time I painted this nail, I'm already way invested in this one. I've been doing this for way too long, right? But anyways, that's just, maybe they wait for the polish to dry a little bit and they do it just one time. But basically you want to clean up as close to the nail as you want without creating a gap or anything, right? And this of course assumes that you've already done cuticle prep, because you don't want any skin attached there so that it looks super clean. So after you're done with this, you have to do this for every coat, right? If I was doing a second coat, I would do the same thing and clean up again, right? And now you're done with your manicure, and now it's time for cleanup. So I want to talk about that because I know, since we're in America, right, we can buy anything we want off of Amazon, right? So you're like, oh, clean up brush, right? So much easier. In Cuba, there's no Amazon, there's no online store, there's nowhere to buy things. You can barely afford or find sometimes these wooden sticks. So if a wooden stick is what you have, a wooden stick is what you use. People don't understand that this exists, right? Even in the United States, a lot of people that are not in the nail community or don't get their nails done at a salon have never seen this, right? So all we know are these sticks. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and clean up with this and go over the steps and explain to you guys a couple things. So if I was to try and clean up this mess with a cleanup brush, what happens is the cleanup brush has bristles that are soft. It's meant to clean up things that are wet. It's meant to clean up things somewhat light, right? Detailed, light. This is wood. You can really apply a lot of pressure into the skin with this. So things that look like you could not clean it up with a cleanup brush are actually very easy cleaned up with a wooden stick and cotton. Now, of course, it has a con, right? Now you have wet nails and you're having to deal with this asshole, right? So be careful, right? Then next thing you do is you want to wet the wooden stick and you grab the cotton and you roll it into the cotton. Roll the stick into the cotton. I haven't done this in a very long time, so my technique is horrible. But basically, you want to prepare the wooden stick, and if you need more cotton, you wet it again and roll it again. So, oops. There you go. After you have this prepped, you continue to dip it in the remover. I hate this cotton. This specific cotton that I have is super linty, and I hate it. So anyways, you roll it to the same direction. And then I've seen a lot of Brazilians on videos that they just go like this, right? In Cuba, we didn't used to do that. In Cuba, what we used to do was roll it. It's a technique like any other, right? You're rolling it. You're rolling it as you're cleaning. And that takes things away from the nail. I'm sorry that my focus is not very good. So let me show you guys again. You're rolling this away. See? Still a pain in the ass. Don't get me wrong. This is a pain in the ass. But it works better than if you're just going like this, right? So I'm gonna continue to do this real quick, finish it up. Now let me zoom out. I think maybe my focus, hold on. Let me see if I can. Okay, there you go. Sorry for the shaking. Give me 1 second, you guys. The problem with this is that once this starts to get dirty, I almost cleaned this up. I just clipped myself. It has blood and I thought it was nail polish. The problem with this is that as you're cleaning, this gets dirty. And as it gets dirty, you have to change it. But basically, having a wooden stick that's so sturdy, it's not like the cleanup brush. If I had to clean this up with a cleanup brush, it would be horrible. But the wooden stick is sturdy. So it allows you to apply some pressure and really clean up in ways that you couldn't do with a cleanup brush, right? Now, why on earth I would want to do this? I don't. But since we're talking about this style of cleaning up, it is what it is, right? So then they don't even worry about the insides here. They don't, because if you start to get too close, then the cotton starts to get in the middle, starts to mess up the nail. They don't worry that much about the skin, right? So when you look at both of these, you're like, well, okay, this one looks so much cleaner to me than this one. But then it is true that after you wash your hands a couple times, and I'm saying like two, 3 times, any imperfections that are in your skin disappear. And you're left with a perfectly polished nail from tip to bottom, east to west. The coverage is amazing, right? So it lasts you longer, The growth is seen later, right? Now, why I stopped doing this? I mean, come on. The time it takes to do, the cleanup, the pain in the ass. I'm only doing one nail, right? And I know I've said pain in the ass too many times, but that is really my feelings on this. Now, let me show you how to remove this and change it. Because right now I'm just doing nails on one hand. And if you're a manicurist, you're doing nails for somebody else, it's not a big deal. But imagine that I just painted this hand and now I have to do this. I know they grab like a cuticle nipper and remove it. But if you're a manicurist and you're just doing nails for someone, you just grab your nails and you like scrape it out. That's it. And then you have to do this again. Right? No. I almost don't even want to clean it up at all, right? Every time you need to clean up or this gets too dirty, you need to redo this, right? For every coat, for every finger, and then on your toes. And then it's like, no. So that's why I stopped doing this a very long time ago, many, many years ago. And of course, I wouldn't mess up so much, right? I would get some of my skin, not that much, but still get some of my skin and I would clean up with this. That's all I knew, right? Then one day I saw my sister paint like this. I'm talking about like this is over a decade ago. I saw my sister paint like this. I didn't even know what a cleanup brush was either at the time. And I was like, wait, what are you doing? She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, why you're not painting all the way? And she went like this to me from far away. She's like, can you see that gap? And I was like, no. And she's like, exactly. And then I was like, wow, mind blown. I don't need to do this. I can just do that, right? So that's what I started doing. And then when I joined the nail community, I learned what a cleanup brush was, which, it's a great, great little tool. Let me show you guys in case you haven't seen my million other swatch videos where I use it. I'll show you how to use this real quick. So say you're going to paint your nail and you make a mess. Now you're not attempting to be all over your skin, right? But still, sometimes you can, I don't know, let's say you touch your skin like I did right there. Right? You wet your cleanup brush and remover. I like to lightly tap it against a, paper towel. You can go around, you clean it up. That's it, right? So it's nice, but the cleanup brush is gap friendly, right? You cannot use a cleanup brush without contributing to the gap, right? Because the cleanup brush, even if it's super thin, still needs space, right, to get in there. And then if it went under your cuticle, you want to pull your skin back and just get in there and clean up some more. And then if you wait for your polish to dry, I find that it makes everything harder, right? So I don't like to do that. Anyway, so that's that. Now, some final thoughts. So, again, I want to talk about this situation. Oops, I'm off focus. Great. Because a lot of times we think, why use this? Remember what I said. In some places, we don't have the option to buy this. Now, we can still not make a huge ass mess and just paint inside the lines, right? And then the cleanup that you have to do even with this is less, right? So really the technique has nothing to do with the fact that you have or don't have a cleanup brush. Sometimes we come from, like, if you come from Cuba, you're here, you could buy one of these and you're still using this, and you still, it's just what you're used to, right? So it's very hard for people to change what they're used to doing. But I do want to remind everybody there are many different ways to do things. Like I always say on my Instagram, the way they do Russian manicure, which is mainly gel, right? The Russians get as close to the cuticle as this without making a mess like this. So if you're from Cuba or Brazil and you see the gap, you cringe. But if you're from America or Italy and you see a Brazilian or a Cuban do their nails, you cringe, right? Because it's not where you're used to, right? These people over here in this team are, giving up the easy cleanup for a completely covered nail. We on this team over here are giving up the completely covered nail for an extremely fast and easy cleanup, right? So then if the Russians see any of us, they're like cringing at all of us, right? So there's always somebody that's going to be doing things differently than you. There is no right way. And it's just funny that this topic keeps coming up because people from Brazil just are mind blown when they see us. And I can promise you, we're mind blown when we see you, right? I'm not that mind blown because, like I said, I used to do this, and in my country, this is how we do it. But I'm sure someone that's used to painting like this their whole life, they see this way of painting all over the skin, immediate heart attack, right? So, anyway, I just wanted to go over this, show you guys the differences, and explain a little bit about the technique with the wooden stick, how you press down on the nail, and allows for better cleanup. You see, I ended up not with too bad of a mess up, right? So, anyways, that's it. I just want to talk about this for a moment. And thank you guys for hearing me rumble about different styles of painting nails. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.